Ayan Malik had always believed that love inside a family was supposed to feel equal. Maybe not in gifts or praise, but at least in intention. Yet as he grew older, the imbalance in the Malik household became clearer, like a painting whose hidden cracks only appear when the light hits it from the right angle. From childhood, Ayan had watched his father, Raza Malik, shower his older brother, Zayden, with attention. Zayden was the heir, the golden boy, the one who could do no wrong. If he broke something, it was excused. If Ayan made a mistake, it was magnified. Their mother tried to soften the edges of this favoritism, but after her sudden passing, the house changed. Warmth seeped out of its walls, replaced with a cold silence that made even footsteps echo differently. Ayan learned to swallow pain with a smile. He stayed late at the family company, Malik Group, studying files, fixing errors, running errands Zayden didn't care about. He told himself that perhaps one day his father would look at him and see more than a shadow standing beside Zayden's light. But that belief shattered one evening. Ayan was walking down the dim hallway, heading toward the kitchen, when voices leaked from the half-open study door. He froze as he recognized them, his father and Zayden. "Dad, I think it's time," Zayden was saying. His tone was confident, entitled. "The house should officially be mine, and the company too. I don't want any more delays." Ayan felt his heartbeat quicken. His father's reply came without hesitation. "Your brother deserves it," Dad said, his voice firm. "You get the house and you'll take over the company, that's final." The words sliced through Ayan like a knife. He didn't move, he didn't breathe. He just stood there, letting the truth sink into him like poison. So this was it. All his work, all his sacrifices, all his silent hopes, nothing. His father didn't think, didn't hesitate, didn't even mention Ayan's name. It was as if his years of loyalty had never existed. Ayan stepped back quietly before either of them could see him. The hallway felt longer than usual, the air heavier. He walked to his room, closed the door, and stood silently, trying to understand why he expected anything different. The Malik house, once a symbol of family and belonging, now felt like a museum filled with memories that didn't include him. And for the first time in his life, Ayan felt like an outsider in his own home. His father's words echoed in his mind, over and over. "Your brother deserves it." Little did he know, this was only the beginning of the betrayal. The morning after hearing his father's words, Ayan woke with a heaviness that refused to lift. It felt like grief, but not for a person, grief for a place he once called home. And soon, that grief turned into a harsh reality. It began with the lawyers. 2 of them arrived at the Malik residence carrying files that might as well have been weapons. They sat in the living room, speaking with the kind of calm detachment that only people unaffected by emotional consequences could possess. "By Mr. Raza Malik's decision," one lawyer said, adjusting his glasses, "the ownership of this property has been transferred to Mr. Zayden Malik, effective immediately." Ayan stood at a distance, watching like a stranger. His father didn't look at him. Zayden smirked, wearing the victory on his face like a medal. "You can stay here for now," Zayden said, as if granting charity, "until you figure out what you're going to do with your life." Every word was a slap. The next blow came at the company. Ayan had worked tirelessly for months, leading projects, training new employees, often staying longer than the CEO himself. Yet when the board announced a leadership change, it wasn't Ayan they called forward. It was Zayden. "Congratulations to our new CEO," the chairman declared, shaking Zayden's hand. Cameras flashed, reporters clapped. And Ayan stood in the corner, unseen, unacknowledged, swallowed by the very company he helped build. But the worst betrayal arrived quietly. Elena, Ayan's fiancée, the woman he believed would stand beside him through storms, asked to meet him in the gardens behind the house. She couldn't even meet his eyes. "Ayan," she whispered, "I don't know how to say this, but I can't be with you anymore." He stared at her, the world tilting. "Why, what happened?" She hesitated, twisting her fingers. "Your future isn't secure. Zayden, he can give me stability, a life I always dreamed of." Her words pierced deeper than anything his father or brother had done. "So this was about money?" Ayan asked softly. "It's about survival," she replied, stepping back. I hope one day you understand. Understand, he understood perfectly. Within 30 days, he lost his inheritance, his place in the company, his father's respect, and now the woman he was ready to build a life with. And the final strike came on a rainy afternoon when Zayden confronted him with fake sympathy. Ion, I think it's better if you leave now, he said. The house, it's mine, you'll manage. Ion didn't argue, he didn't cry. He simply packed a small bag, stepped into the rain, and walked away from everything he once loved. But as water slid down his face, a new resolve sparked inside him. You took everything from me. Now watch what I become without you. The city of Karachi greeted Ion with noise, dust, and scent of survival. It was nothing like the polished floors of the Malik residence, or the glass offices of Malik Group. But strangely, it felt honest. No one here pretended to love him. No one pretended he deserved nothing. Here, he was simply another face in the crowd, free to rebuild or collapse. He rented the cheapest room he could find, a basement with cracked walls and a single window barely large enough to let in light. The landlord didn't care who he was, and that indifference was refreshing. For the first time in his life, Ion had no expectations to fulfill. No legacy to protect, no father watching, no brother comparing, just himself, and that was enough. During the day, he took whatever work he could find, delivering parcels, fixing computers, helping small shops with their digital systems. At night, he returned to his dim little room to work on the one thing that still belonged to him. A tech idea he had once dreamed of presenting in Malik Group's boardroom. It was a software system designed to help companies manage operations with precision and transparency, something their father's company desperately lacked under Zayden's careless management. But back then, no one cared enough to listen. Now, Ion had no one to show it to, so he decided to build it for himself. Coding became his therapy, planning became his escape. Each line of programming stitched together the wounds life had carved into him. Weeks passed, then months. Slowly, his project began taking shape. A clean, powerful prototype, but he needed more than talent. He needed exposure. That opportunity came at a small tech exhibition in the city. Ion rented a cheap booth, printed a homemade banner, and displayed his software with nothing but quiet hope. Crowds passed by without stopping. Investors ignored the young man with second-hand clothes and tired eyes. Until one man paused. Rayan Siddiqui, a venture capitalist known for backing underdogs, watched Ion's demo with growing interest. You built this alone? Rayan asked. Yes, Ion said simply. Rayan studied him. Not his clothes, not his booth, but him. His clarity, his pain, his fire. I don't know what you've been through, Rayan finally said, but whatever broke you, sharpened you. I want to invest. Those words, so different from the ones spoken by his father, ignited something in Ion he thought was dead. Within weeks they built a small team. Zara, a brilliant coder who believed in Ion's vision. Musa, an old CFO who had once left Malik Group because of Zayden's arrogance. Together they formed Phoenix Tech. And like its name, Ion began to rise from the ashes of his old life, stronger, smarter, and ready for the shadows of his past to face the light. Phoenix Tech grew faster than Ion ever expected. What began in a cramped basement turned into a rising force in the tech world. Investors lined up, big companies requested collaborations. Interviews filled his schedule. His name, once ignored, now carried weight, respect, and fear. But success was not the real victory. The real victory came quietly, like fate returning to settle old debts. Because while Phoenix Tech rose, Malik Group, under Zayden's careless leadership, crumbled like a weak building in a storm. Bad decisions, missed deadlines, lawsuits, corruption scandals that Zayden pretended didn't exist. Employees resigned one after another. Investors demanded answers he could not give. One morning, an article broke across every business channel. Malik Group faces bankruptcy-seeking buyout. When Ion saw the headline, he didn't smile. He simply whispered, "It's time." Within days, Phoenix Tech became the highest bidder to acquire Malik Group. The board, desperate to save their careers, accepted the offer, and the company that once rejected Ion now stood on the verge of becoming his property. The final signing took place in the same boardroom where Ion was once treated as invisible. He walked in with calm confidence, a presence that commanded the room. Rayan and Musa stood beside him, Zayden entered late, looking worn, desperate, and terrified. "Ayan, please," Zayden said softly, voice cracking. "You can't do this, I'm your brother." Ayan closed the final folder. "Where was this brotherhood when you threw me out of my own home?" Zayden had no answer. Their father entered next. His hair had grayed. His posture was weaker, but his pride still tried to stand tall. "Ayan," Raza said, "don't forget where you came from." Ayan looked at him, really looked at him. "I did," he said quietly. "And you made sure I left with nothing." Silence swallowed the room. "You gave him everything, and I built everything myself," Ayan continued. "But today, I'm not here to destroy you. I'm simply taking back what should have been mine." Powerful, calm, unshakable, Elena showed up days later, tears in her eyes, regret in every breath. She begged to talk. She begged for another chance, but Ayan only said, "You left for a future with him. Now go live in it." He didn't yell. He didn't insult. He didn't seek revenge through cruelty. His revenge was success. His revenge was owning the empire they denied him. His revenge was making them watch him rise without their help. Malik Group officially became Phoenix Tech's subsidiary. The house he lost now belonged to him again legally, completely. And as he stood in the doorway of the mansion, Ayan felt no anger, no hatred, only peace. The boy they broke had become the man they could never be.